Hey everybody, I'm Ron Sweeney. Welcome to the Real Estate Huddle. I've got three of the best when it comes to real estate, and I'm going to let them introduce themselves. But we're going to have a good little dialogue here about buyers, and it could be first-time home buyers, could be buyers who've been with us multiple times, and just what they're seeing in the market. So these three real estate experts are going to walk us through that. We're going to have a good dialogue back and forth. I'm going to start with Georgiana Nye, who we affectionately call Queen G.
And for good reason.
For good reason. And Georgiana, could you tell us how long you've been in real estate, what markets you work, and then we'll get into some other dialogue. We'll go to Alyssa and Bill thereafter.
Sure. I've been selling real estate in the Dayton market for over 40 years, and I was a broker in New York before I did that.
Okay.
So I believe geographic specialty is important.
Sure.
To be an expert, because you can't be an expert everywhere. So I do a lot of Oakwood because I live there.
Yep.
But you can't survive on just that. So I do South Suburbs, Kettering, Beaver Creek, Bellbrook.
Awesome.
And I work with new buyers and old buyers and all kinds of categories.
And any buyers.
Anybody that has money.
And that's why she's the queen. Alyssa.
Hi, yeah, I have been in real estate since 2017.
Okay.
Right after I moved back to Cincinnati from New York. I've been in sales since 1996.
Okay.
So I serve the greater Cincinnati area, mostly I would say east of 75, except for Westchester, Liberty Township, that area there. But, and I'm a little bit of the opposite. Instead, I've moved around in Cincinnati a lot since I've been back.
Sure.
And I believe that if you can really dig into the data, then you can be a neighborhood expert.
I love your glasses. Queen G's got a pair just like it. So I thought when you walked in with that, I thought, we got something going on.
I know.
Bill and I are using old specs compared to you guys.
Not stylish at all.
Billy Riley.
Yep. Billy, Bill, whatever.
William.
William. I am the branch manager of CrossCountry Mortgage. I've been in the business 27 years. I run the Dayton Springfield market.
So sorry.
But we
You got to deal with me.
gotta deal with you.
And the Bengals.
But oh Lord. Oh, boy. That's a yeah. You couldn't make it like 1 minute without saying that.
Couldn't do it.
But no, CrossCountry, we lend in all 50 states. Obviously, we specialize in this area. I have a branch in Beaver Creek and Springfield. And I run the branch. I also run my own personal business.
Yeah.
So I've been.
So you guys get to see it all. You get to see a lot. Obviously, your deals and your deals are you don't see everything that he probably sees. He sees it from a mortgage lender perspective. But what I'm really interested in is, since COVID, I've been with the business 14, 15 years. I've seen the market shift 4 or 5 times, 6 times. It's shifted 3 times since COVID. And what I'm seeing lately is things that used to, buyers had less of an upper hand locally. Now you go down to Texas or you go down to Florida, it's different. That market has shifted because of lots of overbuilt. And so you're seeing prices come down. We're not seeing that here. No. And so that's one of the things we're going to talk a little bit about. And we're seeing the time for deals to get done and how quick that happens. And it used to be the seller had more of the upper hand. And what I'm seeing is in the data is a little bit less of that. So, Georgiana, can you expound on that a little bit, or Bill or Alyssa? What are you seeing out there in general with buyers?
Well, in general, some people get up in the morning and have a cup of coffee, and I've never had a cup, although I'm not a Mormon, honestly. I just get up and turn the computer on and say, how many houses are for sale right now in Oakwood, and how many are pending, and how many have closed, because I use that as a benchmark.
Guide, yep.
Because typically, that's the hottest market.
Yep.
The people want to live there because
Could be the schools.
the schools are the best. So that gives me an idea what's going on and kind of what to expect. But what I see is I've seen numbers all over the place. And what I'm seeing is houses staying on the market a little longer than they were.
Yep.
And I think what's happening is sellers think it's like it was before.
Yeah.
Why? I'm not going to get 19 offers. I go, no, in your dreams.
Yeah.
But maybe we'll get a couple offers.
Yeah.
But it's all about pricing.
Yeah.
It's all about putting it in the right condition. And it's all about comparing it to the competition. So I don't think it's whether it's this year or a year before. It's getting the house ready to be sellable and pricing it right. So I think as long as you do that and you're a seller, you're good.
Have the number of homes in Oakwood gone up?
Well, there was 11, probably 11.
A whopping 11.
Let's go, and there's 39 today.
Okay, so that's 4x.
But I've seen 110.
Okay.
And I think 60 to 70 is the norm.
Okay, it's a balanced market.
It's a
Is the
balanced
norm.
market,
Okay.
yes.
Alyssa, what are you seeing in Cincinnati on that I-71 corridor?
Yeah, I think it's very, very location specific
Okay.
and very, to Georgina's point, condition specific.
Okay.
That's where buyers are really going to get you. If you don't have your price right and that home is not showroom ready,
Sure.
they're going to eat you alive.
Are you
So-
are you seeing people still sellers stuck in the, well, he got that for in 2022 and 2021.
100%.
Are you're still seeing
100%.
that?
I like to say that sellers think it's 2021 and buyers think it's 2009.
Yeah.
So it's
Okay.
It's interesting.
Bill, your world is very different, obviously from the lending perspective. How do you see the market? Are people not coming to grips with the price or I got to believe, interest rates are a little more elevated than they were in 2021, right?
know.
And so they're kind of, but property taxes have gone up and the insurance has gone up. And so do you see any of that causing consternation with buyers?
Yeah, I see buyers that I get them pre-approved, go through
Yep.
the process. They want to buy a $300,000 house, and then they want to go over the payment. They perfectly qualify from the mortgage perspective. I tell buyers all the time, just because I qualify you doesn't mean that you're going to like the payment, right?
Right.
And you tell them the payment's $3,000 or whatever it is on a $300,000 property, and they're like, "What do you mean $3,000?" Right? I want my payment to be $1,500. And I'm like, "Well, if you want $1,500, you need to shop around $150 now." $1,500 used to get you $225, now
Right.
it's $150. So you have to bring them to grips with: are you willing to lower what you're looking for in the area you're looking for, or the quality to get
Right.
the payment you want? Or are you willing to pay more and get what you want? Or are you willing to meet in the middle, right? So I see that a lot. I'm also not seeing it. I don't know if you guys are seeing this, multiple offers. That doesn't happen as much. It's happening for the right property. I think you're right on location specific. But I also don't see people going over. It used to be, there was a time, 3 years ago when everything was over. Everybody bid over, and they would pay with the appraisal gaps and all that crap.
And we're gonna talk about escalation clauses,
Yeah,
appraisal gaps here in a
so
minute.
I don't see a lot of that, but I think the big thing for me is people not being aware of what the payment is going to be, because taxes have gone up.
Oh, yeah.
Everything's gone up. Taxes gone up. Insurance gone up. They just have to be aware of what, before they start shopping, wanting a house. They should probably check that.
Yeah. And what's the best source to find that? Is that through a mortgage specialist, or should the realtor be doing that for them, or both?
That's I don't want to disrespect realtors, but
Yeah.
they're realtors and we're lenders,
Right.
right? And so I don't think they want to play in our space like we shouldn't be playing in their space. So I
Right.
think it's best to have trust your realtor, whether
Yeah.
it's us at CrossCountry or another lender.
Right.
Trust your realtor's partners to be able to figure that out.
Right.
If you're not getting the answers you want, you got to find someone who will, who's going to be honest with you, not just for a sale, but to put you in the right spot.
Yeah, that's interesting. I'm going to give a couple scenarios. We talked a little bit about this. We're going to talk first about escalation clauses. I remember when they first came on the scene here locally in the Dayton Cincinnati area. And then we were writing these offers and we're like, what is going on? I mean, it just was kind of crazy. They've settled down a little bit, but we still see them location specific. So I'm going to give you a scenario. Buyer's finds a home listed at, let's say it's $425,000. Home's been on the market for a whopping 1 day. Okay. They've already got 4 offers. The buyer loves the home. They're pre-approved for $450,000. They're considering an escalation clause. Walk me through, you two as realtors, walk me through how are you counseling them on this? Hey, George, I like this, but we can only go this. We've heard of this escalation clause. What do you say to them?
I tell them that the Board of Realtors spent a lot of time making up the form that has the escalation clause, but to always remember at the bottom there's an appraisal gap on that form.
Yep.
And even back in the day, one time I actually had 19 offers and I just threw 17 of them away because they didn't have an appraisal gap. So I explained to them, I want to know, do you have the extra money? If we have to use this, can you come up with that extra money? And then you're in a better position. And how much do you love it? And do we think it's priced right? And I'll show them, if I think it's priced great, I'm going, don't be afraid to make the move. Don't be afraid to do this, and put that on there. Then if they argue and they don't want to do this, I go, okay, then you're going to learn how to write a contract, right? And it's going to be an exercise in going through the process. and maybe you'll be lucky and it'll happen.
George, have you ever, I don't want to say, I want to be very careful with my words, not talk somebody out of a deal, but I'm a buyer and I'm interested and you know the scenario and
Oh, yeah.
yeah. Have you ever counseled them to say
Not to do it.
Yeah, I mean, you can't. I mean, we've got the obedience. We got to follow that, and whatever they say, we got to do. But have you ever really? They've been like, we want this, and we'll go to 500, and you're like, oh dear, here we go.
I'll say, seriously, I know you're excited. How long are you going to live there? How long do you really think you're going to live there?
Key.
Because there's always the hope of appreciation.
Right.
I mean, I paint it so that they know, oh, it's probably not going to be worth that. How is it ever going to be worth that? But, I mean, they think you're their trusted advisor.
Right, sure.
So you have to give them as much
Right.
information as you can, and advise them. And that's why they trust you. That's why they stick with you.
And what's tricky is Dayton, Ohio is always, and Cincinnati for that matter, is always been 100 to 120,000 less than the national average. Mm-hmm. So we always, usually, not always, I'm going to knock on wood, not the 08 time frame, obviously, but we've typically seen price appreciation. We're seeing Texas and Florida, they're it's going down. Mm-hmm. They're overbuilt, and it's all it is someone asked me, they said the other day, well, why did the price go up? And I go, well, there are more buyers than sellers. They're like, it's stock price. Why did it go down? Well, there are more sellers than buyers. I mean, it's really not more simple than that. I mean, it's just same thing with a home. The economics play. If there's more buyers, your price is going to go up. More sellers, it's going to be.
Well, I usually have a response when we talk about this, and I talk to them about every market's different. Dayton is, I always say it's the feds, eds, and meds.
Oh, yeah.
Who are moving here.
Yeah.
And I explain to them, the base.
Right, Pat?
All right, Pat. They bring people on. However, that's not exactly happening right now because of what's going on.
Yeah.
Eds,
education.
both
UD,
at Wright State and at UD, they've cut departments.
Yeah.
So you're not getting that many people. And the only one that's still kind of solid is people who just finished, making the match for medical school.
Yeah.
And they know where they're going to go.
Yeah.
And then
PA school, doctor.
Right. So that's not as big as it used to be. And so.
But I gotta say, I see a Kettering and a Premier Hospital, and they're like McDonald's. Yeah. They're all over the place. I mean, I'm like,
I just think they must have less people at each one and more vending machines.
They might.
Do you think?
Yeah, I don't know, but that's great. So thanks on that, Alyssa. Escalation clauses. Walk me through your process. Do you have a process with them when someone comes in? They're exuberant as all get out. And they're like, "We want this," and you're like, "Those are the three things they said they didn't want." And you, what? And so
yeah, no, I always tell my buyers they're going to think I hate every house, first of all, because my job is not to be like, "Ooh, yes, you should buy this house."
Right.
My job is to be like, "Great, you love this house. You said you didn't want this, this, and this, and this, and this are probably going to cost you money."
Right.
But so we go through that. But I generally tend to counsel people when we're making offers and there are multiple offers. If someone made an offer $1,000 ahead of you and you lost out, would you have been like, "I would have gone there"? Or if you made that offer and it got accepted, are you going to wake up tomorrow and say, "Oh my God, I can't believe I agreed to pay that for
buyer's
house."
remorse.
Buyer's remorse. I don't do it. So generally, we tend to just go with a really strong offer. But when we do use escalation clauses, they can be helpful. But I'm always going to make sure, to G's point, to make sure that they understand what the likelihood of a healthy appraisal is going to be by just showing them some comps and letting them make that decision.
Of your last 10 buyers, what percentage of them use an escalation clause? One.
They didn't get it.
Right. Okay. Yeah. No.
Yeah.
That's good. That's good.
And it didn't go all the way up to the top. So it was a really good use of it.
Yeah.
Because if they had offered their top, they would have been out $20,000.
Right.
Yeah.
Interesting. Bill, in this market, you see escalation clause come across here,
Yeah.
and you go, what's your first thought?
There's two. My job is twofold. I want to say this first. We try not to tread into your lane. So when people start asking us about the house piece of it, it's always talk to your agent. Okay, when it comes to escalation, I don't get involved in none of that. I learned my lesson very early in my career. Just do what I do. Two things. Number one, it's important for us to educate the clients. It's our responsibility to make sure from a financial standpoint, just because we can approve them, that they understand what they're getting into from a payment perspective. Are you okay with this higher payment? If you're going to escalate this, if this goes all the way, $20,000, your payment's going to this, right? That's number one, my job. Okay.
Have you ever had anybody go, "Oh shit, that's going to cost me"?
Yeah. Well, I think when we
$220,
typically pre-approve them, you let them know every 1,000 that goes up, it's probably $6 or $7.
Yeah.
They can do their own math, but you have to remind them. That's number one. Number two, the concern we have is the appraisal.
Yeah, sure. Does
The
it?
biggest misnomer out there about our job is that we control this appraisal process. And I think any lender that's listening to this right now is probably standing up in their living room or their office clapping for me right now, because we get so much grief for the appraisal. People need to understand. We used to have control, and it was a really bad thing. It was right before the crash. When we had control, and we were in cahoots, and there was people giving extra money. Hey, get this value. That was not protecting the consumer.
Right.
A part of Dodd-Frank and everything that happened had to do with the appraisal independence, which is one of the good things that came out. Some of it's kind of I don't agree with, but the appraisal independence was huge to let the appraiser do their job without interference from the lender. There shouldn't be.
Right.
And so we have third-party vendors we send the order to. Most lenders like us, we choose 5 or 6 appraisers in the area, and they rotate them. We don't even know who's getting it. When it comes in short, Fannie and Freddie, just FYI, do not allow us just automatically get a second appraisal because we don't like the value. We can dispute it. Most of the time it doesn't work because appraisers don't want to look like they messed up.
Right.
But we can't just say, oh, we don't like his appraisal, we'll get another one. So the concern
Call
for
Jimmy.
me,
Call Jimmy.
yeah,
Jimmy's good
the concern for me is just the appraisal
Do
piece.
you get appraisal waivers very
We
often?
do, and those are coming more and more into play. People put typically 20% down
Yep.
because you don't have to worry about the PMI approval. That's a whole other topic I won't get into today. It's case by case. It's all an automated system. It's called AUS, automated underwriting system. Fannie Mae has DU, Freddie Mac has LP, 2 systems. We run it through both. Some lenders run it through one. You might get an appraisal waiver on DU and not on LP, but if you don't run them both, you
didn't
won't
know
know. You won't know. They're both different investors. Okay. So I think where some lenders may make a mistake, they run it through DU all the time because sometimes Fannie Mae rates are better than Freddie Mac. They're both conventional, but there's 2 different rates. People don't realize this.
I did not know.
Yeah,
that.
there's 2 different rate sheets. Okay. So
Goes the lower.
people
Goes the
get a
lower.
little bit better rate on DU and they run it and they get a full appraisal. Well, why not run it over here, even if the rate's close enough and you can tell the customer, hey, we can get no appraisal on this one or a full appraisal. Here's the difference. Like explain it, communicate it.
Yeah.
But when they come in short, we get a lot of grief. Now, if it's egregious, if an appraisal comes back and the square footage is wrong or they made some, who knows? You can argue for a second appraisal, sometimes get it, but that is not automatic. Okay. FHA sticks with the property for 6 months.
Yeah.
That's the other concern. You go to sell a property, escalation clause comes in short, someone's stuck with that for 6 months. Even if the market goes up, that's the appraisal they got to use.
FHA, VA, govies, as we call them, they carry about 25% in the market because we're a military town in Dayton, not as much as in Cincy, but still, that's part of it. And so we see 25%. And so we need to know FHA, VA guidelines, and it's extremely
Well, and
important.
keep in mind the
Because these
appraisers.
benefits, they tell them the benefits when they're coming in the armed forces, and they're like, they want it, but they don't know why.
Right.
I want my VA. I want my VA, and they're like, okay, but they want it.
understand
But
it.
it is what it is.
Well, I will say this, that just keep in mind too, when they're getting these comps, they got to go back 6 months. Sometimes they can go back a year.
Yeah.
And so if something sold, what is this, June?
Yeah.
And it sold for $500,000 and you list a house for $500,000 in January and there's another comp that sold for $490, they're not going to use that $500. So it's a moving target.
Yeah.
So when the market was high, everything was staying high. And the one thing that helps is when people are paying cash for these properties. I noticed that too. There was people that single-handedly raised neighborhood values because they would go pay cash. They didn't get an appraisal. They paid $500 for a house that was $400, right?
Yeah.
People were doing that.
Yeah,
Overpaying.
100%.
And then guess what? We have a $500,000 comp for a $400,000 house. But wait, it sold for $500. Even though it didn't have an appraisal, it
Right.
still counts as a sale. And it was moving the values up, and that's not happening as much.
I
so.
think I read that locally, recently, it's cash is more than 33%
Yes.
of the
A
business,
lot of cash buyers.
which is kind of amazing.
It is.
I can tell you
Wild.
from ours, Coldwell,
What's our numbers?
it's running 29, 30, 31, depending on the month.
Wow.
That number when I joined the company in 2012 was 22, 23. So it's now, I mean, that might not sound like much. That's
That's
an
huge.
8% jump. That's over a 35% jump.
Yeah.
And so you go, what? And so,
But you might see that starting to drop in the stock market.
Agree.
Because
Agree.
people didn't want their money in the
Sure,
market.
right.
Right
I
now
get
it's
it.
booming, so
Right.
they probably maybe there's not any
Right.
cash offers next
No.
couple months until something else happens, right?
I get it. George, what do you do when a client walks up to you and says, hey, tell me about this appraisal gap? What does that mean? I've been reading about that. Or how do I use that? Or, hey, if I want an escalate, I mean, when you get a client that has been on their phone or on some computer, whatever, and they're practicing to be an attorney or a realtor. What's your scenario? How do you walk them through that?
Well, first of all, I was on the forms committee that developed the form.
Right.
So I know it really well.
Yeah.
And so I said,
But they're trying to be smart.
I compliment
They're
them.
trying to be- yeah.
I compliment them before I smash them and say, shut up. Really? This is my gig here. No, seriously. Seriously. I go, wow, you know all about that. But let me tell you what, it really is a good thing for you. It's not a bad thing.
Yeah.
And I understand it completely. So when we need it, I'll walk you through it and I'll help and guide you so you can do it the best way you could do it.
Okay. So
I'm making it sound like it's an asset because it is.
it is.
It's
It
a
is.
great
It is.
tool.
Oh yeah. Alyssa, walk me through. Buyer comes in, offers $450, home's listed at $425, offers accepted, appraisal comes back at $425.
Mm-hmm.
What do? Buyer doesn't have enough cash. They don't have enough cash to cover the difference. What do you do?
I'm the buyer's agent.
Yeah.
First of all, I got one over on that listing agent. But, you know, the first thing I'm going to do, if they don't have enough cash, then
Yeah.
you got to go to the seller's agent and talk to them and let them know what the scenario is.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, the seller has options. The seller doesn't have to lower the price.
Correct.
You may have now paid for appraisal, inspection.
Oh, yeah.
You may have given notice to your landlord.
$3,000,
And you
I'm out.
might lose a house. So you really have to go to the seller's agent, give them all the reasons why they should come to the number they should come to, and give them their argument to talk to the seller. You don't want to rely on the fact that they know how to get the deal done. They might not want to get the deal done. They might have a backup offer.
Yeah.
But you just got to give them all the data you can.
I might argue that you go to the lender as well.
Yeah.
It's a great
Hey,
point.
hey, lender, do they have cash? Do they have the money? Can we restructure this loan? Maybe they're putting 20% down. Now they got to do 15% down.
Oh, I've done that.
Like we have a 15% down, no PMI loan that people maybe not know about. So it's like, I don't want to pay PMI. Well, have you talked to your like, there might be an opportunity there to restructure.
I think you
that
have to
deal.
think about it. It's a stumbling block, but there's different ways it can be solved.
100%.
And obviously, you're representing the buyer, so you're going to try to get the seller to do it.
Right.
But if not, and if you can't get the lender with a solution, then you just have to talk about compromise. We compromise, on the terms. This is just another term. That's why I say to them, it's just another term.
Yep.
Yeah, that's a great point. But I like what you're thinking.
Yes.
Going to a lender, or I'm sorry, going back to the seller is great. But using the lender, there's
Well, that's why you use a lender that you.
Exactly.
That's why you have a lender that you go
Right.
to that you can say,
Bill,
God, help
here's
me
my
out.
problem.
And even if it's
Here's
not,
my
even
problem.
if it's somebody that has a lender that's not your lender, like a Rocket. Well, I'm just gonna say it. Okay,
Please.
someone like that, right? It's that they love their lender, but you know someone like myself or whoever else you know that you trust. Hey, Bill, can you just give an eye on this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
me how
where your
stupid-
partners. That's where your
tell me how
partners come into
stupid I am.
play.
100%.
Because, no offense, Rocket
Oh.
call center, they're not going to come up with that solution. They're going to be like, no.
No.
And so that's a great point. Deals falling apart. We are seeing that escalate over the last couple years. It used to be 5, 6, 7% deals would fall apart. That number is now 11 to 13%.
Is it that
We
much?
have literally as a company 30 million a month that falls apart.
Wow.
Now, it might fall apart and then all of a sudden a week later they come to their senses and we have to, we terminate the deal, but then a week later you don't lose that. I use that as an efficiency ratio. How efficient are we? And it was 5, 6% for years since Christ wore knickers. Then the last 3 years, that number has exploded to 10, 11, 12, 13%.
But why do you think that is?
Well, that's a great point. I think there's
Buyer choice.
some buyer's remorse. If I'm paying this dollar, it's like, hey, let's be honest with ourselves. Prices have gone up 50, 60% since COVID, maybe even more in certain markets. And you sit back and they go, I'm going to pay 5, 10 for that. You better, wash my car, mow my lawn.
These are people already under contract.
Yeah.
Well, yes, and deals exactly, and they don't come to it. It's a bit of the buyer's remorse, and they're like, well, and then you get through inspections, and then 2 things come back, and you're like, wait a minute, if I'm paying 5, 10, and he's got a roof that's in 3 years, what, and so sometimes the inspectors come back and they give you the 36 pages, and you're like, what the heck is going on?
I have a quick question, G. You've been doing this longer than all of us here. I'm
Yeah,
close to
combined.
30 years, but
Combined.
you've got me way past, right? From my perspective, it feels like the value of the contract isn't what it used to be. When I first got in the business, the contract was the contract. And do you feel like that people respect the contract? Because it feels like if you're under contract, you're under contract.
I agree.
So how do people just get out of them so easy?
Well, I do think because I respect the contract.
Right.
And I think because I respect the contract, I try to enforce the contract.
Right.
And I explain to them that all the hours that committees have come up with a contract that is fair for the buyer and the seller. And you don't know what the future is, and this is now. So I really, really, really just try to enforce the contract. Then I say, I think the answer is always negotiating skills and compromising and having an open mind that everyone's going to have to give something. And it frequently includes me.
But when they back out, when they back out, though, I guess what's the repercussion? Like that's the part. That
So
feels like there used to be repercussions.
I think
don't know.
this is a great point. There are 5 to 7 points of renegotiation after the contract signed. And this is one of the reasons why we should use a realtor. You're always negotiating. Something comes back, the appraisal, this comes, inspections, blah, blah. And so we got to be, this is where back in the day, we used to hold all the listing, or we knew there wasn't the internet. And so they had to come to us. Well, that has totally changed. And now our value is coming in more the negotiating side of things and helping them through that. I think that's the true value of knowing, and you got somebody who's protecting you. That said, we're 5 to 7 points of renegotiation, and I think that it comes up, and it's like they can, and there's more buyer's remorse now. I think what are you seeing out there as to why do you think more deals fall apart now than they ever have?
I don't have many deals fall apart. Honestly.
That's why she's the queen.
No, because I look, because I have a PhD in psychology, maybe, but also because I look at this and
Dr. G.
true, but I look at this and I'm going, don't you still love the house? I mean, you've got it.
Yeah.
And then, of course, I am not stubborn either. I go, if we're all going to compromise, you know what I'm going to do? I was going to buy you a nice gift afterwards. It probably cost $150. I'll take $1,000 off mine, as long as everybody else kicks in.
Right.
I'm not going to take a lot off. I mean, I said I worked and
'Cause you're
worked and
doing
worked.
work, right.
It's a gift to you, and they act like oh my God, thank you. I mean, really.
Yeah.
I don't want to talk about how I'm making $22,000 already.
Easy.
But the point is, everybody has to
It's all
have
negotiable. It's all
skin in the game.
Yeah.
Right. And you got to have a willing buyer and seller. But we are seeing it double, and I think it has to do with the number of deals falling apart, and I think it has to do with more. I don't want to call it buyer's remorse, but if I'm going to pay top dollar, I better be getting top dollar. And when that inspection report comes back, you're like, I only got that HVAC. And so then they go, and so I don't know if you're seeing that list or not.
So I'm with the queen over here. I don't have a lot of deals fall
Okay.
apart, but I think a lot of that comes down to the prep. It's making sure that they're realistic from the get, and making sure that they're invested from the get, and that they really want the house.
Right,
and I
right.
think that really helps. And when they're really informed on the process, and they have all those terms to negotiate, when they really understand what that means, when they understand what the appraisal gap is, when they understand a realistic expectation after
Absolutely.
an inspection, like, you don't get to walk away or ask the seller.
We're not going to rebuild that house.
We're not going to rebuild
Right?
the house. Yeah, if the house was built in 1910 and you look at the inspection and now all of a sudden you want it to be a house that was built in 2010, like,
You
that's
mean
not
that roof isn't
realistic.
1 year old?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
No, but again, it comes back to me pointing out, and I'm not a licensed inspector, I'm not qualified to be one, but I'm going to go through and point out everything I think that could be bad about the house.
Yeah.
So usually the inspections aren't much of a surprise.
Okay.
So,
Yeah, it's not a surprise.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, the other thing is, my pet peeve is small earnest money.
Oh yeah. I'll put up $25.
I mean, people
Penny.
will say,
Absolutely
well,
not.
I'm going to put $500. I said, no, you're not shopping at Walmart. That's what I say to them. I
You know
said,
what?
you
some
are
markets-
buying a
In some
house.
markets, they don't even put earnest money down.
Yes, I know.
I think
looked at,
Springfield market. I don't think they use
I don't
earnest.
think
Is that? I don't know.
Yeah,
It's less and less.
I don't think.
And I don't mean that that's bad. It's just that's just.
but
no,
I
it's
think
just
by
commonplace,
getting
isn't it?
higher earnest money, people feel more invested
Committed.
and committed.
Agreed.
And they appear more serious. So I always have a lot of earnest money.
Yeah. Bill, you're a lender,
I am.
and a deal's starting to fall apart. You get a call from a realtor and they say, and so where I'm going with this is, if you got 20 hours, and I know you said, hey, bad example, because you only got 1 or 2 deals fall apart a year or whatever the number was. That's time.
Yeah.
And you can never get that back. Same thing with you.
Yeah.
Okay. None of you guys get any monies, no paid until it closes.
Correct.
Someone calls you and says, I know you're your favorite realtor and you're my favorite lender, but this deal's falling apart. What do you do? Do you go, do you go into the 5, 6, 7 questions? You're like, wait a minute, let me call and can I call the buyer? Can I ask this?
I'm going to assume this is a financing fallout situation,
Could be.
right? Because I don't really get involved in the inspection
Well,
stuff, right?
It could be, it could not be, but it very well may be. Like,
Yeah, I mean-
it's always coming down to price. Let's be honest with ourselves, right? I get these
Everything
4 things, right? It's always, it's location, can't change it. Condition, we could change it, but we're not. And so it's price, right?
I think it's about using a lender that has the products that can fix situations. I have a lot of fixes, but people might not like the fixes, but I can give them a fix. You know what I mean?
Give me an example.
We have a bridge loan, for example, where, when you're buying I don't want to make this too long because this is complicated. Maybe this is a bad example. I don't know. Anyway, someone has a house for sale. They're buying it. This sale falls through. Okay. They don't qualify with a normal bridge loan because you got to count a bridge loan payment, their current house payment, and the new payment against them. Their debt ratio is too high.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
We have a bridge loan where we can basically eliminate, we can get them a bridge or not, but we can eliminate that house payment.
Yep.
It's an AI program we have.
So your DTI.
So this does
is
not
better.
count in the DTI.
Gotcha.
The problem is it's going to cost the buyer a 2% fee of the higher the purchase price or the sales price. So if you're buying a house for $500,000, that's a $10,000 fee to do that. My perfect example. I'm using an extreme example, but I mean, if I called you with that product and I said, hey, I got a fix for you. Here it is. Here's what it's going to cost. And someone's going, whatever sounds you just made.
How much
Okay,
you love it?
I
If you
gave
actually-
you
Right.
an answer, and there's no other answer.
And so we're in the solutions business.
I'm
That's a
giving you
perfect
solution.
example.
You have to figure out if it
We're in-
works for
that's
you.
what we are. We're here. We're not buying a house. We're not
No.
selling a house. We're out facilitating sale.
That's
and
it.
we give solutions. Period,
it.
paragraph, and a story.
And when I
That's
see
it.
stuff fall through from a financing side, if I can kind of add on to the inspection side, a lot of it has to do with employment. I had one this morning. I'm not making this up. It's closing Friday. Clear to close last Friday.
Which is in 48 hours.
in 48 hours. All done. It was not an easy deal. We got it done. We have to do a final verification of employment. That is the last thing we do.
Really?
Everybody knows. You say you're clear to close. First of all, you're clear to close doesn't mean you're closed.
Yeah.
Right? Okay, that's right. Remember, CTC means nothing.
There's
So you
a
get time to say-
difference.
I love that. My favorite word is CTC. Is it though? My favorite word is closed, not CTC.
Yeah.
But anyway, so we call the employer. He quit his job last Friday.
Stop.
Swear to God. Call the customer. Hey, what's going on? Did you get another job?
A problem.
Yeah. So this is my solution. Did you get another job? I'll verify your new employment with just a letter and we'll roll. No, I'm going to start an LLC. You're going to do what? You're going to start an LLC? Well, you don't qualify. Then I get the call from the wife, and it's hard conversations, right? Because as much as I'm annoyed, and I'm like, that is stupid common sense. I don't want to hear someone crying about their kids and they told their land. That's awful. Like I feel that.
We're moving.
I really feel
We're
that.
moving trucks in the house.
But on the other
truck
hand,
way.
the response is
bags.
when the response is, "Why are you doing this to me?" and things like that. It's like, okay, listen, ma'am, there's no lender on the planet that's giving a mortgage without a job. That's all I'm gonna say. Give me a co-signer or tell him to get another job. But my point is, those are situations where you're screwed. That's helpless for me because I'm a solutions guy. Those are screwed situations, for lack of a better term. It's not closing Friday. I had to call the agents. They're all whatever. I'm trying not to throw the bar under the bus.
I get
but
it.
things happen.
I get it.
But most of the time, I will say 95% of the time, I think my career has been built on fixing things, which is kind of frustrating.
You can't fix that one.
You can't fix it. But people will call and say, hey, fix my problem, and I fix it, and then you don't hear from them again. It's like, wait a minute. I don't want to just be the
Could
fixer.
have made him a loan officer.
Yeah, right. Let me hire you for a couple weeks now. Family Freddy, I'm not doing that. Regulators, I'm not doing that.
That was
That was a terrible. Ron, you can hire him. No, anyway. But a lot of things we can fix, and a lot of things, some things we can't, and most things we can. It's just a matter of are they willing to do the things we need to do.
Well, that's a tough one.
It's a very tough one.
that's the thing.
Those are tough conversations.
We
man.
give them the information, they make the decisions.
Exactly.
Inspections have changed so much since you've been in the business 40 years. Now we've got whole home inspectors. And I saw a report the other day. I don't list and sell, but it was 36 pages long. And I thought, I would have stopped after I'm not the realtor. I saw it. I was like, holy mackerel, what is going on here? I mean, is that house habitable? And so it's changed. George, what do you do? How do you manage your client? Do you let them see it first, or do you go through this with the other agent and say, look, there's 36 items. 29 of these are easy.
Well, let's stop. First of all, when the inspection is done, according to the inspectors I use, I get a copy the same time that the buyer gets
Sure.
the copy.
Yeah.
But usually
Right?
your eyes are going to get on where I'm going with this. I'm probably jumping the shark here. You're going to look at it immediately, and you might have 29 of the 36 things. Not a big deal.
Well-
but the last 7,
Well, wait.
okay.
I only look at the summary. Truly.
My girl, KG.
Yeah.
Because,
And in conclusion,
no, because the summary are really significant things.
sure it is.
Half
Yeah,
of the 36 pages is a light bulb that was out.
right.
Right?
Yeah.
So I don't even originally look at the other stuff. And so then I read over the summary. Sometimes I say, excuse me, I can't say it. Like, what the? I cannot believe all this crap is wrong at this house that looks like it's had like a paint job to cover it all up. But essentially, and then I explain that to them before they have it done. I say, I only care about the summary. I only care about the summary. The other is just kind of maintenance issues.
Fluff.
So let's try to. Now, I think the big deal that's happening right now is you can't get an inspector in as frequently. My problem is
Timeliness.
timeliness, because if
There's
they're
not
good,
enough.
if they're good,
They're in demand.
they're really in demand, and you write the contract and you say you want 10. What? Just did one. I said I want in 14 days. I had 2 weekends in it. The other ranger goes, "Why you should be able to get your inspector in before that?"
Can you
I
say
go,
that again?
Was it good?
Is that how she sounded?
Excellent.
So-
Was that actually how she sounded?
Close.
She a smoker?
No, but I can't stand her. Anyway, so
Name drop, do it. I'm just kidding.
I said, please. And she goes, I'm going to take you down to 10 days. I go, no. And she goes, well, anybody can get it done. I said, not if you're using the best inspector in town. Anybody can't get it done.
Right.
People that know what they're doing
I
can
need
do it.
15.
So then he had to come and did it for me on a Saturday morning as a favor. Okay? And of course, I had an attitude. I was trying to lose it.
Shocking.
Well, I'm a Catholic, so I prayed to lose it.
I agree.
But it wasn't
I am
going
too.
anywhere. It really wasn't. Okay? So then I just thought, normally I would get you a few estimates on this. But no.
There's no time
So
for
I
it.
sent it over, and she goes, well, you didn't get any estimates. I said, well, I really couldn't get any on Sunday.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So there
It's
you go.
Easter.
There you go. The ball's in your court.
Yeah.
I mean, and we are closing. We got it done.
So your example on the inspection surprise or whatever is
Don't expect the house to be rebuilt like new.
okay.
Have,
And
if
so
it's serious.
and so do you and I think I heard you say this earlier, and I'll pivot to you in a second. Do you plant that seed, water,
yeah.
fertilize it
Oh, yeah.
throughout the deal? Like, hey,
Oh, yeah.
we're gonna get this inspection report back.
Well, first of all,
And
now, first of all, I read over the disclosure carefully, and I'm going, dang, this house is either perfect or these people were in a hurry
yeah,
to fill it out. Because believe me,
Yeah.
when you have this inspection done, I prepare them.
yeah,
I say, there's going to be things wrong. Okay, let's just see what they are. And sometimes they're so obviously wrong, you know that the sellers
right. Never had water damage.
were strangers to
And
the
there's-
truth.
And there's 3 tiles, and
Right,
you go,
right, that kind
yeah,
of thing.
that's
But
that's a lot.
you have to understand, and I say to them, you love the house. This is just a bump
Right.
in the road, and we're just going to
$500
negotiate
bucks.
this.
It's $1,200.
Well, it's usually more than that.
yeah, I know you can't do anything for $500. It's a bad example. That example I used in
But
20.
you just have to.
18 doesn't
I mean,
work.
they do love the house.
Yeah.
Yeah. How
And
much
so
do you love
you're
it?
gonna work. That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. And that's when you really use your negotiating skills, don't you think?
100%. Yeah. And it depends on how competitive it was. If the house
Right.
was on the market
Right.
for 3 months and the
Yeah.
the seller is desperate to sell, then you're going to get them to do more
Right.
than
Sure.
if you had 8 offers and you know that they have a backup offer waiting in the wings, It's just about setting expectations and being realistic.
Not to plug anybody, but if you were to get an inspection company in, who would you use? That's the best of the best.
I have 2 because you got to have a backup for when
Gotta
your
have a
guy can't
backup.
get in. I use Lighthouse and I use Amerispec.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
What's the second one?
Amerispec.
George, who do
I got a
you?
guy.
I use Pillar to Post. I use Mike Schrey.
Schrey,
I
yep.
think he walks on water. I do. He used
That is very
I used to use his dad,
biblical.
Wow.
Oh, okay.
and he was a NASA engineer.
There you go.
You know,
So he's no dum-dum.
but
So
he's also reasonable, and he'll put things in the other part that just says, "Hey, this can be maintenance. You should take care of it." He doesn't write it up like it's.
anybody
Find
else?
out.
Mike Schrey's in the Bahamas for 10 weeks. Who do you call?
I had 4 more days to the inspection.
You really do believe he walks on water?
I do.
Okay.
I do.
Can I say something on
Yep.
inspection?
Oh, absolutely. You're next.
I don't want them. I don't want to see them. I don't want to know nothing about them. That's all I want to say. About that.
Okay.
That's all I can say about that.
Yes.
That's going to be
Yes,
a,
don't send them to your
I
lender.
will. Yeah, don't send them. Don't send them. I don't want to see them. If you send them to me, they're not going to be submitted.
I never
I don't
sent
want
him.
them. I'm just saying. I've got them before. I'm like, no, we're not doing that. We base all of our stuff off the appraisal.
yeah.
So the appraiser's not an inspector. We all know that. But if they see something, they're going to mention it, and then we'll let you know.
Right.
I've
Right.
had people say, my inspector found these things, but the appraiser did, and this is BS. I'm like, he's not an inspector.
Right.
He must not have seen it. He didn't crawl in your crawl space and
Right.
look for mold. I mean,
Yeah.
if it's if he sees it, he's going to mention it.
Yeah.
But I don't want to see your inspection, so that's all I got to say.
That's a great point from the lender.
You're welcome.
Thank you. I'm going to ask a couple more real quick questions. We covered one of them kind of, but when you hear, George, I'm going to wait for rates to come down. I'm going to wait. What's your first reaction? You're in Starbucks.
How long are you gonna wait? Are you gonna
Until it
wriggle?
gets to 6. 4. I want to get to 4.
I'm gonna say, let me just refer you to somebody else in my office. Because I'll be
bless
dead. I'll be dead.
Before it
by
gets
then.
to 4.
But it's true.
It is true.
It's true. It's
Classic.
Yeah.
It's a classic.
Yeah.
How do you handle someone that says, "I'm waiting for, I'm waiting, they're up a quarter point, and I gotta." Oh, well, what's your answer?
Yeah, we talk about the numbers. Like you said, you tell them it's, every $1,000 is going to be about $6 or $7 a month on their payment.
Yep.
So we talk about what the difference in the payment
Okay.
is. And we talk about how fast prices are going up.
Yeah.
And that they won't be able to change the price. They will be able to refinance.
Right.
I hate the phrase date the rate,
Yeah.
but there's some truth there.
Yeah.
The prices of the houses are just going to be, in Cincinnati, they're going up 6-7% a year.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's going to add a lot
Yeah.
to that principle.
Do the math.
Yeah.
Do the math.
It's all about the numbers.
I talk rate all day.
Oh, I know this is.
I know. They went quick, so I can just.
This is your wheel.
Just
Last one, you're like,
Can you guys all
be an
be?
inspection report.
Can everybody in this room be my therapist for a minute about freaking rates? God, that's all I hear about. If I hear the word freaking rate one more time, that's my job. So I guess I better deal with it. First of all, I agree with you, Alyssa, 100%. This whole date the. What is it? What was it?
Marry the house,
That
date the
became
rate. Yeah.
popular or
Oh,
whatever.
terrible.
God, I hate it.
Might as well do a TikTok dance.
Right. because I'm not going to say what I want to say about the term, but you just better plan on having a long-term relationship.
Yeah.
Let's not say date, because date means it's going to be short-term.
Yeah.
You're not going to
2
refinance
months.
that quick.
Yeah.
Okay, you're not. So you might as well be engaged. Maybe change to engaged to the rate, or be willing to divorce. Marry the rate and divorce it. I don't know, but you're not dating the rate. I'm telling you, they're just not moving. I will say this about rates: the average rate over the past 50 was some odd years is like 7.8%, and that's averaging in 3 years of rates in the twos. So think about that.
Hello.
Okay. What you can't change is the fact that appreciation has gone up as much as it has. So if you're sitting here getting a 7% today and you're waiting for a 6.5 or 6, but you're gaining $40,000 in equity over the next few years, what are you losing? Mm-hmm. You're talking a 300. Say it's $300 more on a payment, $3,600 a year, 3 years. Call that 10 grand. Whatever, a little over 10 grand, but you gained equity.
6%.
What are you giving up?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
18,000.
You're putting your money into something that's appreciating at what? I don't know.
Right.
It's not going to be 10, 15% like it was, but probably 3 to 5%. Does that seem reasonable? That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Now things are different here than, like I said, Florida and Texas right now. And I mean, California goes up and down, up and down, and always has, probably always will. And but Florida and Texas have seen this major price appreciation, but now they're kind of settling down due to the economics, overbuilding. People were moving in. Now they're not moving in as much. There's and so I think we're lucky where I'm going to this. We're lucky where we live.
Yeah.
We're not seeing price go down. It did in 08 to 09, maybe to 10, but we've seen it just it's not gonna. You're not gonna get 20% price appreciation.
But like,
you're not gonna lose.
But like, choose your market. If you want rates in the 3s and 4s, you want to compete with 30 people, have appraisal gaps, and overbid on everything.
Yeah.
I feel like as a buyer, yes, it hurts a little bit compared to, and we got to get those 2.5 years out of our brains. It's just, I feel like it didn't exist. It's an anomaly. But as a buyer, if you just realize that you can gain this equity and take a higher rate, you're going to be in a much better situation. And you're still lower. I mean, rates were, I was in a meeting with you not long ago, and you said, what's the good news? Remember, I was kind of giving crap about the 10-year treasury and all this stuff.
Get it below 6%.
December of 22, they were 8.25. I can't stress that enough. For the next year and a half or so, they were in the 7s.
Right.
Up until the beginning of this year, we were in the 7.25 range. They dropped below 6 right before the Iran thing. Okay,
5.92, and people were like, "Oh my
people
God.
went nuts. People
The
wanted
fish
to
are running. Let's go."
And all of a sudden, it got a little crazy, and then they bumped back up. We're at like 6 point. I think the national average is 6.6, maybe.
Yeah.
Okay, 6.6.
Close 6.5.
The 10 years at 4.4. That is not awful
Right.
compared to.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Now everything else is going up too. Nobody wants to
Yeah.
talk about property taxes and insurance
I
and everything
agree.
else. The cost of living and wages and all that.
Yeah.
That's a whole different story.
Yeah.
But until inflation gets under control, which is not, we may see. Me and Ron have a bet on this.
We do.
I'm
This
not
year.
saying this will happen, but I just have a gut feeling that they're going to raise the rate.
I'm saying, nah, baby, nah.
I'm-
Look at
I'm,
George.
I'm starting to
like,
see now. Remember, when the Fed raises rates, it doesn't affect 30-year rates right away.
Right.
It trickles down, right?
Right.
But I just
10-year
believe we
treasury
could
died,
see
treasury.
we could see a 1/4%. Well, I could be wrong. Me and Ron have a bet on that.
massive.
But
$100?
No dinner anywhere they want.
yeah, so I got to take him to freaking Skyline or something. I don't know. Nasty.
No, it's gonna be Ruby's. Somewhere
Ruby
South
Ruby-
Beach.
Ruby Tuesdays. I'll take you to Ruby Tuesdays. I got a buffet.
All right, I'm getting the quick, speeded up, Sweeney kind
Yeah,
of look.
I know.
I'm going to go to the last question, and I think it's very important. Okay, someone comes in and say, George, why do I need a realtor? Why do I need a realtor? I've got Zillow. I've got all the information and data, and you know what? There was a ruling that just came out that talked about commissions. Why do I need a realtor? I could get a better deal without you. What do you say?
Well, I tell them I've been doing this a really, really long time. And I've never had anybody sit at a closing table and say, I think you made too much money. Ever. Because they then realize how much work I did and how I helped them get to the end. And if that happens with you, you'll be the very first one.
Okay. Interesting canned response.
But it is true.
It is true. You can't say anything that's not true.
Right.
Alyssa,
I
why do you need a realtor?
believe in paying for professionals.
Okay.
Nobody knows.
Help me understand what that means.
Yeah, look, if I don't feel well, I go to the doctor, not Dr. Google. You know?
WebMD. WebMD.
That's good.
Seriously.
Let's go.
Like, Ryan Serhant had a conversation the other day. He had 2 clients, agents in his team. One represented the buyer, one represented the seller. It was the same deal. The buyer went to ChatGPT and Chat said, you're overpaying for the house. The seller went to ChatGPT. They gave him all the same information. Sellers, it told him,
You're too low.
You're too low. You're not getting enough for the house. So they wanted to blow the deal up. Like, thank God they had the same broker so they could figure out what was going on.
Yeah.
Because nobody has the expertise of somebody who's been doing this.
Yeah.
You've got to be in the trenches. You've got to be actually an active agent that knows how to negotiate.
Yeah.
I think it's important that you work with buyers and sellers because then when you're representing a buyer, you know what the sellers are looking for.
Yeah.
Because you were doing that yesterday.
Yeah.
And
I see
you
some
just-
brokerages that you're a buyer's agent, you're a seller's agent.
Yeah.
And I think that's a feast or famine. And when sellers are in control, then you're doing great.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not a good. You gotta have balance.
It's only beneficial to your client when you know what the other side's feeling, especially in a market like now where it's just so complicated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great point. Bill, you probably get this question. People have a relationship with you, and they're like, "Do I need a realtor? Do I, I mean, they call you. They're like,
Oh, yeah.
hey, I want to refinance, but you know what? Shit, the wife just, she wants to move soon, and I just need $150 extra a month, or what should I do? And do I even need a realtor?
The best thing is when people come to me and they're doing it for sale by owner or they're buying mom and dad's house.
Yeah.
And they're like, so what do I do? I'm like, you need a contract. Well, what do I do? I was like, I'm not a realtor. It's not my job. It's not my. I can't
Yeah,
tell you. I
exactly.
can't give you real estate advice. I'm the money guy. I'm not
Right,
gonna do that.
exactly.
But I think that your industry and my industry have a similar issue because there are probably more lenders who aren't good than that are. And I think there's probably more realtors who aren't providing the services that these two, for example, provide.
Right,
Professionals,
right,
true professionals.
Right. Trained.
And they're seen as just contract writers.
Right.
And just,
They just open
and
doors.
Just yes
Door
people.
You just open a door.
Yeah, they're not providing the correct conversation, discussions, thought process,
Yeah.
protecting them. They just want that paycheck. And I think there's a huge difference between high producing people in your industry and mine. You can tell when they're out for a check, when they're out because they care about the people. The money will come. I mean, that's not why I do this. I mean, obviously we're all here to make a living, but there's a big difference. And I think we have a how people view our industry
Sure.
is a little
Well,
off. But people
you
realize
drive a
it.
nice car.
People realize
You
it
live in a nice house.
when the
You
seller
make
calls.
too much money.
Right. When the seller calls me, remember I'm representing the buyer on a physical.
Right.
For example,
Right.
I got this. I didn't make enough at closing. Well, did you do a net sheet? What's a net sheet? I was like, you know what? I don't do net sheets, but I know what a net sheet is. Call the title company. They don't realize they have to pay tax expiration. They don't
Yeah.
realize they
Yeah.
have deed transfers.
Oh,
They don't
yeah.
know all this stuff, and they're like, well, this is da-da-da. I'm like, this, and I say every
What's a
time,
conveyance
you should have hired a realtor. And what they do is they put title companies and lenders in a tough spot because they want us to be their representation, and I'm not.
Right.
And they realize very quickly. So I think it's very important to have that protection. I think your example's perfect. You've
Yeah.
got to have people who know what they're doing.
I
Because
remember.
you're protecting them. I mean, think about the inspections you're talking about, stuff that you guys do. Like, they're not going to get that
Oh,
if they
yeah.
don't use a realtor. They don't even know what inspections to ask for. They'll get these contracts on, like, at Staples, and they're like, what do I check? And I'm like, dude, I'm not telling you what inspection to get. That is what a realtor would do if you would freaking hire one.
Yeah.
So,
I remember my first 2-3 months here. Rick Heaven was here. God rest his soul. And he gave me a story about a FISBO. And he said, you know what somebody's thinking, a buyer, when they're walking up to the door and it's a FISBO. I see something. My wife likes a house, which I Sunday drive. We pull up and it says FISBO. You're going to go walk up. What do you think they're thinking as they're walking up?
probably going to get a deal.
Deal. They're thinking deal. And they're thinking, he's got 6% to work with. Well, let's just start with 5. So you've just lost everything that you thought. And so that it's part of protecting the value of your house.
And how did they even price the house?
Exactly.
Right. Yeah.
And so,
Seriously,
so
right?
the price might be wrong, and they're thinking deal, and it's just going, and then every little thing that goes wrong, it becomes because there's no, there's no professionals in between. Like you can say, George can look at you and say, Alyssa, come on. You can't, no,
Exactly.
that's not working, sorry, and that's not going to fly. And so you can hold each other to account, whereas if you're represented by one side or the other side's not or whatever, but I think you're right.
Plus, if you get a G on your side, I'm like, hey, G, I don't like this. Guess what? G's going to go to the seller. I don't have to do all
Right.
that.
Exactly.
I got my
Exactly.
I got my bulldog over there to do my work.
Exactly.
Like, I don't like this. Okay, I got you, Bill. You know what I mean? And that's what you guys all do. So you fight for your customers, which is good.
I listed my own house in 2021. I'll never do it again.
Yeah.
I'll hire another real estate agent. to do my
Someone
real
said that
estate
to me.
house.
I haven't moved,
Yeah.
but I said the
great.
same thing. I will never.
Never again.
I not a. And you're too close to it. You're too emotionally tied, and you're like, that pink wall's my favorite. It's just a wall.
Well, no, I was smart enough to hire a stager. Like,
Really.
never again. No.
Well, this concludes our real estate huddle. We appreciate everybody listening, hanging out with us, and having great topics. I can't thank you enough, Georgiana Nye, Alyssa Ortega, Billy Riley, 3 of the best in the Midwest. And so we look forward to seeing you guys real soon, and we'll talk soon. Thanks, everybody.